If you weren't sure before how completely scripted and made up this entire Syria ISIS thing is, this should give you one more clue. Now it's being reported just a day after Obama says we have to go into Syria to fight ISIS. The entire leadership of the ISIS opposition was wiped out yesterday by an unexplained explosion. It is now being reported in Breitbart and The Times and other outlets that nearly 50 senior commanders of a major coalition of Islamic moderates opposed to ISIS in Syria have been killed by an explosion at their secret command bunker as they met to discuss their strategy against the Islamic State.
That's very convenient and very suspicious. How did they get the intelligence to magically wipe them out at their little meeting group where they all happen to get together? Sounds like a CIA black op to me. We know they want order out of chaos. This is just going to guarantee that the most extremist forms of these opposition groups are going to be in power at a time when they want ISIS to break everything.
At this moment, the greatest threats come from the Middle East and North Africa, where radical groups exploit grievances for their own gain. And one of those groups is ISIL, which calls itself the Islamic State. Now let's make two things clear. ISIL is not Islamic.
I mean, who are we giving all of this funding to that Obama wants to fight ISIS by funding? Because what everyone knows is that he's fighting ISIS by essentially arming ISIS. That's what's actually going on. Why? Because there is no free Syrian army. That is just a concept that they use to give the appearance of legitimacy. There is no legitimate organized coalition of rebels. That doesn't even exist over there. And this guy has gone at length to explain that.
Yeah, Obama's going to get the Orwellian Award of the Year here for confusing people about who the enemy even is. It's truly Orwellian in that first there are friends, now there are enemies, allies, then our opposition. We were never at war with them, always at war with them. The truth about the Free Syrian Army is it's a cut and paste entity to give the appearance of legitimacy, mainly for American consumption, when what they really are is just funded and armed mercenaries who mainly come from tribes in other parts of the Middle East who don't mind carrying out a reign of terror and destruction so that we can legitimize further military intervention in the region.
So think about it. Whenever Obama asks for all that money from Congress, where is it actually going to? Because there is no FSA. And as we've been saying for weeks now, and is now coming out all over the place, the West may use ISIS as a pretext to bomb Syrian government forces. Gee, you think?
The ISIS snake is not in Iraq. The head is in Syria. And so if you want to kill the snake, you got to go and cut off.
Because that's what they wanted to do last year, and nobody was buying it. No one was buying this red line Assad using the chemical weapons thing. All kinds of evidence was coming out to show it was actually the rebels that were doing that stuff, and no one got on board with it. Now they've scaremongered to the hilt with ISIS, and now look, we have to go to Syria.
Yeah, Kerry got caught with his foot in his mouth, so they waited a year. They built up another phony enemy, gave him a new name, ISIS, as we continued to fund them. And if you bother to look into it, you know the CIA has trained them. These were the Libyan rebels before when Gaddafi was in power. Then they literally airlifted, armed, and gave more money to these people to bring them to Syria. It's such a joke. And who really benefits? Well, we now know that they want to remap the Middle East, particularly in Iraq and Syria.
Yeah,
they want
they
to
do.
break them into multiple pieces so certain other countries can be more dominant in the region, and Iran could supposedly be put in its corner. I mean, it's just outrageous. It's such a phony game. It's just...
How can anybody keep any of this straight? This is so obviously scripted, fake, Black Ops BS.
Yeah, look for the CIA's hand.